Hey guys, it's Mike here, and in this video, I'm going to be discussing yet another unfinished fight in the Dragon Ball franchise, with this one taking place in the Buu Saga, particularly near the start of the second act of that arc, where we saw Goku becoming a Super Saiyan 3 to fight against Fat Majin Buu. And the question of who exactly would have won if their fight wasn't interrupted by Goku going back to his normal form, teleporting back to the Kami-sama's palace, and then in turn, cutting the whole thing off short. Well, let's get into that right now, because the thing is that so many people think that this is kind of a cut and dry fight, but the truth of the matter is there's a lot more to it than that, which is why I'm going to be breaking that down very in depth. But before I begin, if you guys are new here, consider subscribing and enabling notifications so you can stay up to date with all my future videos. Additionally, if you like this content, make sure to leave a like, comment your own thoughts down below because I love to read them, and also share this video out because it really does help the channel to grow and to be seen by even more people. With that being said, let's get right into the video. So let's begin with the inciting incident itself, which occurred after we saw Majin Buu and Babidi show up at West City in order to track down Trunks and the others at the tournament who had intervened during the fight against Majin Buu. Now, with that being said, at this point they found out that in something I actually discussed in the top right corner, which could very well be a plot hole, Bulma discussed how if they destroyed Capsule Corp, they wouldn't be able to find the Dragon Balls because of the radar, which she says if we lose the Dragon Radar that's left in the lab, it uses special parts, so she can't make another one there. Which I do call kind of BS on a little bit because of the fact that we have in fact seen Bulma make a Dragon Radar with much less, but who knows, I guess maybe she always just so happened to carry those around with her, except for this particular instance, even when she was a kid and somehow couldn't have figured out how to make it without that. Nonetheless, what ended up happening was that Goku teleported there in order to give Trunks enough time to get to Capsule Corp, find the Dragon Radar, and be able to use it so they could wish back everyone killed by Buu. And this is what leads into the fight between the two of them, where Goku marvels at Buu's power because he was able to kill Vegeta, even as Majin Vegeta. Well, Vegeta technically took himself out, but Buu didn't exactly give him much of a choice there in either way. This is what leads to Goku showing Buu a little bit of an example through stalling him of how the Super Saiyan forms work. He begins, of course, going into his Super Saiyan 2, but he is then explaining in depth a little bit about how these forms work, as I'm sure many people have seen the anime version time after time again, where he explains that this is the form that goes beyond the traditional form. He goes back to base, goes into Super Saiyan, explains that Super Saiyan 2, well, this is actually where they name it, is what the second form would be called. And then this is to go even further beyond. No, in the original manga version, they do say, is the next level up, which I do kind of like that dub change a little bit more. I'm going to be a little honest here. Now, interestingly, during this, King Kai begins to talk about something which I'll be going more in depth into during the course of this video with regard to the fight, which is the fact that Goku even transforming into this form is something that will lose his time that he has left. Because remember, at this point in time, Goku was on a 24-hour time limit in this spiritual body. After all, that's why he has this halo here. And the thing is that when that occurred, when Goku came to the Earth for a one-day visit, well, a little bit of time had already passed since he'd been there. Because not only did everything at the tournament happen, then everything at the different stages of them fighting Babidi's minions took place, and then beyond that, what else happened? Well, Goku fought against Majin Vegeta, with both them going full power and really all out and exhausting themselves in their Super Saiyan 2 form. So Goku must have used a good amount of energy at that point, even before going into Super Saiyan 3, which potentially could have eaten into his timer. But this is when Goku goes into his final and most powerful form at the time, and it does look really cool. You know, it looks like Goku came right out of a metal concert and for some reason shaved his eyebrows off. But nonetheless, we end up seeing that he's so powerful he can even be sensed beyond the actual macrocosm itself, the universal sphere with the different dimensions in the orbiting Supreme Kai realm. This is when the fight goes underway, and Goku quickly takes the advantage over Fat Buu. Grabbing him by the head and then starting to punch him back and forth like one of those toys. And then, of course, he swings him, slams him into the water, but Buu comes out immediately and uses Vegeta's technique. Of course, Goku deflects all of them, and then the fight continues to go on as Goku is marveling at the fact that I didn't hurt him at all, and he used Vegeta's move, so he learns quickly. Buu then punches Goku in the face, which also doesn't do any damage to him. The whole time King Kai is yelling at Goku, "Enough! If you keep using so much power, you'll lose the time you have on Earth. And you still have to teach the fusion to the kids." Because remember, Goku isn't actually trying to go all out here against Buu just to defeat him. Instead, he's trying to buy time. But even doing all of this is still sapping Goku's energy massively. He starts to punch Buu back and forth. He even blasts directly through Buu with this Kamehameha that you could see right here. But once again, Buu instantly regenerates from all of this with very little effort or energy expenditure. For all we know at this point in time, Buu basically seems to have infinite stamina, because except for some instances I'll get into in this video, it doesn't seem like he ever actually loses any energy during his fights. This is when Buu goes to use a Kamehameha against Goku. Goku deflects it, but Buu actually deflects the blast away from himself too, right at Babidi, funny enough, who has to jump out of the way. It hits the planet, and according to Babidi, actually destroys about 1/10 of the Earth. So Goku at this point is kind of marveling at the power of Buu here. Goku blasted him with a Kamehameha. It basically did nothing to Buu. He was able to fire an attack right back at Goku that Goku deflected rather than just totally nullifying. And additionally, Goku's stamina, his energy, was completely being drained the more and more he stayed within this form, to the point to where after this fight ended, which ends actually right here, what do we end up seeing next? Well, first off, Goku kind of tempts Buu in order to try and take out Babidi, because the fact that he knows he's the one with the real power in the situation, and Babidi is kind of a cruel master in a sense. And so Goku goes away. Babidi is once again barking orders, so Buu decides to take care of him and punches his head into nothingness, basically, because of how hard he hits him. So as a result, Goku goes back to Kami's lookout, and we end up getting a conversation between him and Piccolo after everything that happens. At this point, Goku goes a little bit more in depth into exactly what's going on. You can see that he's exhausted with this form, and he even says right here that he probably has less than an hour left just because of the fact they used that. That Super Saiyan level 3 can only be done in the afterlife, where time doesn't really mean much. If I do it in this world, it uses up too much energy, so basically I have to borrow against the time I have left. And look at this right here. We can have Dende heal you. No, I have to go back to the afterlife to heal this. And Baba says, you have 30 minutes left. Prepare yourself. So just with this little fight that Goku has against Buu, where it doesn't really seem like he's necessarily going all out at all here, he expended his energy to such a degree using the Super Saiyan 3 form that he shows up here and he has 30 minutes left. And this is very little time that's passed since he actually went to Kami's palace, which means that Goku may have potentially, depending upon the rate of sapping his energy, if he had stayed fighting Buu for a minute or two even longer, there's a chance he might have had Baba show up right then and there and told him he had to go back to Otherworld right then and there. So that's kind of the thing. You know, when it comes down to this, this is a major strike against Goku and whether or not he actually could have won. As we see right here, Piccolo actually asks Goku if he could have. He says, couldn't you have beaten Buu if you fought with all you had with that level 3? And why didn't you? And Goku says, I don't know. Buu's mighty strong. I don't think I could have. At this point, Piccolo says, you don't think? Why didn't you try? Was your full strength failing? Goku says, no. I don't exist here anymore. The next generation should take charge. Who knows what will happen in the future? This was a gamble, but those two kids are good enough, and I wanted them to try. Now, on the topic of the two kids, which are Goten and Trunks, who eventually become Gotenks, Goku also gives some insight into how strong they'll be when they fuse, theoretically, in his mind. Now, this is really important when it comes down to Goku's level of power here, because based upon the fight later on with Kid Buu, which I'll be getting into, many people believe that Goku would have been able to easily defeat Fat Buu if he went full power from the start and killed him. Goku even says something like that, which I'll examine shortly as well. However, with that being said, Goku does say right here that he had told Fat Buu that someone stronger than him will fight him in 2 days, and he seemed happy. Now, with regard to that, he is talking about Gotenks. More specifically in this case, that would have to be a theoretical Super Saiyan Gotenks. Because remember, Goku at this point is teaching Super Saiyan Goten and Super Saiyan Trunks how to fuse. At this point, he knows that both of them will be able to fuse either as Super Saiyans or in their base and become a Super Saiyan. So Goku right here is scaling the theoretical power of Goten Trunks with the fusion multiplier that he knows based upon his training in the afterlife with the Metamaries, and he's assuming that they will be more powerful than him as this Super Saiyan 3 that was fighting against Fat Buu. Now, with that being said, Goku does not know just how powerful Gotenks really would go on to become later on, which is during his training in the hyperbolic time chamber, where not only does he power up massively in his Super Saiyan in base form, but also he goes even further beyond that, see what I did there, and becomes a Super Saiyan 3, which is 4 times even stronger than that. So if the hypothetical Super Saiyan Gotenks from before he even went to the time chamber is stronger than Goku, according to Goku's own words right here, and Gotenks trained in the time chamber for, a period of time and also achieved Super Saiyan 3, then obviously Gotenks would have to be way more powerful in this form than Goku right here. Now, the reason why I'm talking about all this is because many people believe that Goku could have defeated Super Buu, Buu-Tanks, or really so many of these other characters, even Buu-Han, because of the fact that later on he goes on to fight against Kid Buu. And at that point, we also get a statement right here, which is when Goku is squaring up to Buu right here, where he talks about how he's going to go full throttle or the entire universe will be doomed. Goku says right here, I actually could have beaten the Fat Buu with Super Saiyan 3 when I met him, but I wanted the new generation to make sure they could take care of themselves. Now, with this being said, the truth of the matter is that Goku seems to be making a number of different assumptions here because he doesn't actually have all of the information on Buu by this point in time that we do. For example, Goku and no one really in the story ever actually sees Fat Buu go full power. Because the fact of the matter is that Buu, in pretty much all of his forms except for the Super Buu forms, likes to play around. He isn't really trying as much as like a Goku or someone when they really try and they get super serious and everything like that. He gets a little bit frustrated, he's very childlike, but at the same time, he never truly seems to be trying 100% at his full power up until at least this particular point later on, which is after Buu spawns another Buu, Evil Buu, Gray Buu, Wrath Buu, Skinny Buu, whatever you want to call him, which I talked about in a video in the top right corner about why Buu became Super Buu and then came back and turned into Kid Buu as opposed to, Gray Buu or the Evil Buu that we see forming right here. And at this point, when he lands and he goes to fight against Fat Buu, we see that Buu starts to really exert himself, going all out. However, the fact of the matter is that this is not necessarily the same situation that would have occurred if Goku had fought against Buu at his full power. Because remember, when the two of them split, it was very similar to what happened with Kami and Piccolo when they split. Not only did they split in terms of personality, where one was evil and the embodiment of wrath, but simultaneously the other one, the fat one, was the embodiment of the good that was within him. That's why so many people call him Good Buu or Mr. Buu. And so, as a result, this means that Good Buu, when he goes 100%, is not actually at the full power that the previous Fat Buu was when he could have 100%ed against Goku right here. And the same thing is for Wrath Buu. Both these Buus should theoretically be weaker than this Buu, with potentially the Wrath Buu maybe being like 60, 70, ish percent of the overall power, whereas the Fat Buu, the Good Buu at this point, is significantly less. And thus, as a result, he was able to be beaten, absorbed, and turn into Super Buu. Another thing to keep in mind is that Goku really does not know the full capabilities of Buu's regeneration. So not only does he not know Buu's full power, he doesn't know exactly how much Buu can regenerate from. Sure, he saw during their fight that Buu was able to regenerate from a blast like this going straight through him, and he knows that he was able to regenerate from little clumps when Vegeta blasted him or, hit him with the final explosion, Vegeta's final atonement. However, it goes even further than this, because during his fight against Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, who I had already established is stronger than Goku as a Super Saiyan 3 during his time in the Time Chamber, he uses the Super Ghost Kamikaze attack to go inside of Buu's body and during that period of time blow him up and begin to vaporize all the little pieces to ashes. He's literally nothing but smoke at this point, and yet all of the power still goes back together into the sphere and pops out Super Buu. So the reason why I said before is that Goku's not able to sense this is because of the fact of what we actually see right here. Goku was sensing everything occurring up until this point, up until what happens is that they go into another dimension, as the Supreme Kai says, which is the room of spirit and time that Goku confirms right here. So when they're in there, Goku cannot sense them. So as a result, Goku did not see the full extent of Buu's regeneration up until the point where he actually began to fight him as Kid Buu. And during that, Goku, who is a Super Saiyan 3, is fighting Buu as much as he possibly can, even though a lot of people believe that Goku is, holding back to give Vegeta a chance. That isn't really the case. He continues to blast Buu and try and wear him down during the course of the fight, rather than just hitting him with an all-out full 100% Kamehameha from the start. But nonetheless, what's happening is that Buu continues to go back and regenerate from literally everything. No matter what Goku does to him, he keeps coming back time after time after time again, and hitting Goku again and again and again too. And as we see right here, the fact of the matter is that Goku in the Super Saiyan 3, even with this living body after he comes back, where many people like to say that Goku got stronger when he got revived somehow, maybe I'll go in depth into that in another video in the future, talking about whether Saiyans actually get Zenkais when they return from death, or I guess even when they die. But even at this point, with the living body, without the time limit, Goku still can't actually maintain the Super Saiyan 3 or get up to his hypothetical full power, and when he's channeling his energy, he actually falls out of it just because of how bad the stamina drain is. He says that it worked while he was dead, but it becomes too much of a stress for him to use Super Saiyan 3 like this while he's alive. The thing is, however, he says it works when he's dead, but he must not be referring to this fight against Buu that we see right here. Rather, he's probably referring to when he was in the afterlife, when he initially used it, or perhaps another time, because a lot of people are completely unaware of this because it did happen off screen. They only mention it one time, but everyone is fully aware of just how powerful Super Saiyan 3 Goku is, that is training with the Z Sword at the time, or, when Gohan is getting his potential unlocked, because after Goku shows up and finds Gohan who's training with the Z Sword, he goes on to ask for food, of course, because it is Goku after all. At that point, what does he say? Okay, cool. Gohan says that Super Saiyan level 3 sounds awesome. Goku says, yeah, I'll show you after I eat. And again, why is this important? Well, because later on we see that Gohan becomes his ultimate state after he has gone through the ritual with the Elder Supreme Kai. At the very same time, we see just how shocked Goku and everyone else here is at the power of Gotenks. So many people totally disregard this look that Goku gives this situation and the total shock on his face when he sees Gohan power up, and they act like, oh, well, Goku isn't acknowledging Gohan is stronger than him. Yes, he is. That's literally what this expression means. That's what all this means, where he literally says right here, I don't believe it. You haven't changed on the outside. You're not even Super Saiyan, but I didn't know this was even possible. No, he's not just saying that he's strong in his base form without Super Saiyan. He's saying that Gohan is way stronger than he is, which is why he's literally sweating right here. He even knows that Gohan can't become a Super Saiyan, which the Elder Supreme Kai basically explains to him here, and also when he goes to transform, where he tells him, oh, just do what you would do when you become a Super Saiyan. You don't even need to transform anymore. And Goku is so blown away by the utter power of Gohan on display that he is basically, pinching off a load in his gi right then and there. Again, this is really important because so many people think that Goku in his Super Saiyan 3 is equal in power power to Gohan right here, but he isn't. He's a lot weaker because Gohan is a lot stronger than the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, who is a lot stronger than Super Saiyan Gotenks, who is a lot stronger after the hyperbolic time chamber than Goku said he would be, which is stronger than Goku in his own words. Which means that, logically scaling, everything lines up to Buu being way more powerful than Goku here. A lot of people seem to think that Goku could have beaten Buu because, as we see right here, when Gohan is searching for the earring after Goku comes back to life and tries to fuse with them, again, because Goku wouldn't have been able to beat Buu without fusion, the same thing with Gohan. The fact of the matter is that Goku turns into a Super Saiyan 3 here, ready to defend himself. However, again, just look at his face here. Use your visual literacy here, guys. He's sweating. He's shocked. He knows that he doesn't stand a chance against Buu right here. And even in the anime, so many people are like, oh, Goku squared up to Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks Buu here, and he fought him. They were doing evenly. No, he wasn't. Buu was toying with him, and Goku was actually getting beaten because he wasn't anywhere near the level of Gohan or Buu at this point. And again, this is the same Goku who came back to life after being dead at this point in time. So unless you for some weird reason think that Goku, after, you know, being a mini Goku inside of Buu, popping out and somehow getting a massive Zenkai out of literally nowhere, which makes no sense in the universe, would be stronger than Gohan in the manga, none of that lines up with him being stronger. And again, Grand Supreme Kai even confirms that, because after he gives Goku his life, he even tells him, how do you plan to beat Buu? I don't think the two of you together could do it, which is why he introduces the memories or the Potara fusion in the very first place. So with everything adding up, as I've shown before, you know, the final nail in the coffin here, aside from Buu literally saying right here, after he absorbs Gohan, that he is literally stronger than ever before and with no time limit, which also indicates again that Buu was stronger than Kid Buu, and of course Buu would know how strong he is in his true form because he is the same guy after all, just with other absorptions on top of it, and he's way more intelligent now than he ever would have been. You know, the final nail in the coffin, in a sense, would have to be right here in the manga, where Goku actually says, after all the absorptions are pulled out of Super Buu, Goku still says, wait, he's still stronger than either of us, he'll kill us if we go out like this, and you just had to break the Potara. Heavily implying right here that Goku would not be able to beat him unless he fused with Vegeta right here. Additionally, to dispel another kind of dub change that I was, going over before, when Gotenks defuses within Buu and he goes into Buikalo, what ends up happening, Goku says, ha ha ha, feeling weaker? The kid's fusion just worn off. I bet Piccolo's in there slowing you down. Too bad. It's kind of disappointing. Gohan can handle you now. No, Goku does not say either of us could defeat you now or I could defeat you now like the original English dub changed to make it seem like he could. No, in fact, he's only saying that Gohan could. Because Gohan is still stronger than Buu with the fusion of these other characters within him rather than Buu with Gotenks. Goku isn't even as strong as regular base Super Buu. So even though in the anime version they have Goku say right here that Kid Buu is on a whole different level from all the Buus up until now, and even though also in the anime filler when they have Goku fighting against a projection of Ultimate Gohan as just a Super Saiyan inside of Super Buu's mind, as well as Vegeta fighting against Gotenks as again just a Super Saiyan inside of his mind, the fact of the matter is that aside from those two filler scenes that were added completely by Toei, which are, a part of the anime adaptation of the story, in the original manga, all of the evidence points to Kid Buu being weaker than even Super Buu, not just as his base, but of course with all the different absorptions within inside of him. So the reason why all of this matters and why I've gone to such an extent to show the level of Goku's power here is because the fact that we know, based upon everything we see here, that Goku isn't vastly more powerful than Fat Buu based upon all the evidence. He isn't as powerful as Super Saiyan Gotenks before he goes into the time chamber, let alone stronger than him after he goes in the time chamber. He isn't as powerful as Ultimate Gohan, so he wouldn't exactly be able to just instantly stomp Fat Buu if he goes all out, if Fat Buu himself was also going all out. Additionally, let's say that Goku, catches Fat Buu off guard because he's playing around a little bit and blasts him at full power with a Kamehameha, just dumping every single ounce of energy he has into him, assuming that energy even has ounces, every single joule, every single volt, every single gigawatt. There's still an argument to be made that he wouldn't be able to actually finish off Fat Buu, even with all of that, because he might still be able to regenerate. And the only time that we ever see Fat Buu in a situation where he's not regenerating is during his fight against Kid Buu. And even then, remember, this is a Fat Buu who is potentially significantly weaker than his fight against Goku because the fact that he had all of the evil removed within him, which of course is Kid Buu, who, is potentially much stronger than even the 100% Fat Buu who is fighting against Goku, and yet Fat Buu is still fighting against him. He's not doing horrible considering all of this, and he's regenerating from everything that Super Buu is throwing at him up until Kid Buu really starts to just hammer into him, at which point Vegeta talks about a kind of plot contrivance or complete plot element that Toriyama seemingly pulled out of nowhere, where he says that, have you noticed, Kakarot? The Fat One's power is going down. They can get hurt when they're fighting another Buu. So it seems like the only weakness they're trying to suggest that Fat Buu would even have to where he'd be able to have his power diminish and also where his regeneration wouldn't keep going is because the fact that he's fighting another Buu. And that's eventually what leads to him being defeated and cast down onto the ground to where he doesn't really have any energy left within him, leading to everyone, trying to help continue to fend off Buu so Goku can defeat him with the Spirit Bomb, which ultimately is the only move that actually ends up wiping out Kid Buu. And because the fact that Goku's power as a Super Saiyan 3 drained him so much just during this kind of short skirmish that he had against Fat Buu, to where he only had 30 minutes left of his timer, which Fortune Baba says right here, it really leaves open the question of if there was anything that Goku really could have done to back up this statement that he says later on that he actually could have beaten Fat Buu with Super Saiyan 3. And so as a result, these questions are really what's going to determine this fight. So overall, who would win in a fight between these two characters? Super Saiyan 3 Goku, who is dead with that spiritual body, or Fat Buu? Could Goku really have done enough damage to Buu if he went all out from the very start against him with his Super Saiyan 3 before he ran out of time and had to return to the afterlife? Or would Buu continue to regenerate no matter what Goku did and be able to prove victorious because he ran out the timer and basically, I guess, won on points at that point in time? You could say that Goku in a boxing fight would be able to defeat Buu because Buu kind of gets by based on his generation, or else even weaker characters like Majin Vegeta would have been able to overcome him. But the fact of the matter is, when you basically have infinite stamina and regeneration, except when you're fighting another Buu, why even bother blocking when you'll just keep coming back no matter what? You could literally come back from smoke, as we saw with Super Buu, and there isn't really that much indication given that Buu's regeneration got better as he absorbed other fighters, although maybe you could try and make that argument if you really want to. So would Goku be able to do it? I kind of find it hard to believe because, again, Goku wasn't truly aware of just how much power Buu had at his full power, and also the fact that he didn't realize just how much he could regenerate from even coming back from smoke. So I find it kind of difficult to believe that Goku really could have defeated, obliterated Fat Buu and stopped his threat right then and there, but the narrative of Toriyama has Goku say that, so narratively, you could definitely make that argument. But with that being said, let me know your own thoughts down below in the comments. Who do you think would have actually won? Do you go with Goku, or do you think that maybe he was full of it? Additionally, make sure to like this video if you like it. If you're new here, consider subscribing and enabling notifications to stay up with all my videos in the future. Check out some of these videos you could see in the end screen, and make sure to stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
Yeah, and you better subscribe.